Get ready to dive into one of the most talked about and fiercely collected coins in modern American numismatics. The 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony dollar. Today's journey is more than a values guide. It's an exploration of history, design, minting quirks, rare collectibles, hidden errors, market factors, and why serious collectors around the world chase this coin with such intensity. If you love coins with a story, this is one you must know inside and out. 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony $1 coin. The United States hadn't struck a circulating dollar coin since 1935, when the peace dollar quietly exited production. For decades passed before the Treasury introduced a new dollar coin, a smaller, more economical alternative to the cumbersome Eisenhower dollar. In 1979, the nation finally got its answer in the Susan B. Anthony dollar, and with it came a mix of excitement and controversy that would echo throughout coin collecting circles for decades. The face of the coin pays tribute to one of America's most significant and influential figures in the fight for women's rights. Susan B. Anthony was a pioneer of social change, a fearless leader in the women's suffrage movement, and a woman whose legacy continues to shape our nation. To honor her achievements, the Mint placed her portrait on the obverse of the nation's new dollar coin, the first U.S. coin to feature a real woman other than a symbolic figure like Lady Liberty. At first glance, the 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony dollar looks unassuming. Made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, with a pure copper core sandwiched between outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, its appearance can easily be mistaken for a quarter or even a foreign coin. It weighs 8.1 grams, measures 26.5 millimeters in diameter, and has a reeded edge. Although the planchet and metallic makeup were a departure from the larger and heavier dollar coins of the past, this new design was intended to cut costs and encourage everyday use. The obverse, front, of the 1979 D showcases a left-facing portrait of Susan B. Anthony. The likeness is dignified and purposeful, her hair pulled back, her gaze forward with determination. Encircling her portrait are the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," while the date, 1979, rests just below her neckline. Flipping to the reverse, back, we find an adaptation of an iconic American symbol, the eagle landing on the moon motif. This design was originally used on the Eisenhower dollar and pays tribute to the Apollo 11 lunar landing. The eagle clutching an olive branch above the lunar surface, surrounded by 13 stars, invokes both historical achievement and national pride. Around this scene are the words "United States of America, e pluribus unum," and $1. The Denver Mint, denoted by the D mint mark located on the reverse just above the date, produced the bulk of the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollars. In contrast to the Philadelphia Mint, which did not place a mint mark on its issues that year, Denver struck over 288 million coins, making the 1979 D one of the most common modern U.S. dollar coins in existence. With numbers like that, one might ask, how could a coin with such a high mintage ever become rare or valuable? The answer lies in the public's reaction to the coin and later numismatic discoveries. Despite the historical significance of honoring Susan B. Anthony, the public response to the new dollar coin was lukewarm at best. Its size and color closely resembled that of the quarter, and the similarity confused cashiers and consumers alike. Many dollars were quickly hoarded, lost in pocket change, or dumped into drawers and jars rather than circulated for everyday transactions. The coin's disappointing performance ultimately led to its quick disappearance from circulation and eventual replacement by the Sacagawea dollar in 2000. Out of this lackluster reception, however, emerged one of the most fascinating collecting stories in modern U.S. coinage: the recognition of rare varieties and the long quest to catalog and understand them. For the 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony dollar, the most coveted variety among collectors is the so-called 1979 D wide rim dollar. This variety differs from the more common regular strike in one very specific way. The distance between the rim and the start of the design elements on the obverse is noticeably wider. In expert numismatic terms, this is sometimes characterized as a broad rim or off-center hub variety, but it's the visual effect that matters. The wide rim coins show significantly more blank surface between the rim and the dentils, the tooth-like rim decoration, than the standard examples. Why does this matter? In the early phases of the Susan B. Anthony dollar's production, Some dies were machined improperly or misaligned, resulting in slight differences in how the coin's design was impressed into the planchet. Because these wide rim coins occurred in relatively low numbers compared to the vast majority of regular strikes, they became rarities, and as any collector knows, rarity fuels demand. In addition to the wide rim, there are a handful of other less common varieties and die states that serious collectors study and pursue. Some coins show double die errors, where parts of the design appear to have a shadowed or doubled appearance due to misalignment during the die creation process. Others may show die cracks, die clashes, or weak strikes that lend them unique appeal. Market values for 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony dollars can vary widely based on condition, eye appeal, and whether the coin is one of the rarer varieties. Common circulated examples, those that have seen everyday use, with wear on the high points of the design, might trade for only a few dollars above face value. For many collectors, simply owning a set of all the major mint years and types of Susan B. Anthony dollars is an essential foundational step in their collection. Uncirculated examples, coins that show no signs of wear and retain full mint luster, command significantly higher values. A 1979 D in mint state grade, generally MS60, MS63, might fetch $15 to $50 or more, depending on the specific grade and eye appeal. Higher grade mint state coins, particularly those graded MS65 or better by reputable third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC, can command hundreds of dollars or more. When we turn to the rare wide rim variety, values escalate accordingly. Even in lower mint state grades, wide rim 1979 D dollars can attract premiums over their common counterparts. Coins that showcase sharp detail, attractive surfaces, and strong eye appeal are especially desirable to advanced collectors. Certified examples, authenticated and graded by a trusted service, often bring the best prices at auction or in private sales. But numbers and values can only tell part of the story. What truly makes the 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony dollar fascinating is the way it bridges everyday life with numismatic intrigue. These coins pass through the hands of ordinary Americans, given as change at supermarkets, tucked into wallets, misplaced in pockets. And yet they also became objects of intense study by collectors eager to uncover every variation and anomaly. The story of this coin's release also speaks to broader themes in U.S. monetary history. The Susan B. Anthony dollar was emblematic of a period when the U.S. government was actively attempting to reform and modernize its currency, reduce production costs, replace worn coinage, and encourage the public to embrace new denominations. Its rocky reception illustrates the unpredictable nature of public acceptance. No matter how well-designed or economically sound a new coin might be, if it doesn't resonate with everyday users, it can quickly fade into obscurity. Yet decades later, that very obscurity has become part of its allure. Where once the 1979 D dollar was ignored or even mocked, sometimes called the ugly dollar because of its similarity to a quarter, today collectors celebrate it as a cornerstone of modern numismatics. From the casual hobbyist building a type set to the advanced collector specializing in die varieties, this coin holds a place of respect and fascination. Collectors often compare the 1979 D. Anthony dollar to other modern coin series, such as the Eisenhower dollar or later Sacagawea and presidential dollars, to gauge how modern issues have fared in the marketplace and in public usage. And while the Anthony dollar's lifespan was short, 1979 through 1981, with a brief resurgence in 1999, its impact has been lasting. What should you look for if you're evaluating a 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony dollar for your own collection or investment? Condition is paramount. Examine the high points of Susan B. Anthony's portrait, her cheek, hair, and neckline, for signs of wear. On the reverse, look at the lunar surface and the eagle's feathers. Well-defined details are a sign of a strong strike. Next, inspect the rims and fields, the flat surfaces of the coin, under good lighting. Collectors of the wide rim variety compare the spacing between the design and the rim on the obverse. This is a subtle but identifiable distinction once you know what to look for. Certification from a respected grading service adds confidence for buyers and often higher market value. A coin graded by PCGS, NGC, or ANAX, especially if attributed as a wide rim or with an error designation, will typically bring more interest from serious collectors. Historical documentation also matters. Provenance, or knowing where a coin came from and its ownership history, can add a compelling dimension, especially for rare varieties or particularly attractive high-grade examples. And while market values fluctuate over time based on collector demand, economic conditions, and auction results, the 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony dollar has demonstrated lasting strength. Serious collectors recognize its place in U.S. coinage history, and every interesting find, whether a pristine example or a rare variety, fuels that ongoing passion. In closing, the 1979 D. Susan B. Anthony $1 coin is much more than a piece of metal. It's a work of art, a chapter of American history, and a dynamic collector's challenge that continues to thrill numismatists decades after its release. From the compelling story of Susan B. Anthony herself to the fascinating die varieties that keep collectors searching through rolls and boxes, this coin rewards those who dive deep to understand its nuances. Whether you're just starting your collection or you're a seasoned enthusiast of modern U.S. coins, the 1979 D. Anthony dollar is a piece that must be on your radar, not just for its value, but for the rich narrative woven into every finely struck example. And that's the true heart of numismatics. Every coin has a story,